Mr. Transformers96 here with another video review. This time I'm going to be ranking the DC Comics Multiverse King Shark Collect and Connect figure wave. So this wave is split pretty much evenly between comic Batman figures and CW TV show characters. So this is an interesting wave. I really bought it specifically for the King Shark Collect and Connect figure. However, the figures in this wave, some are pretty decent, some do have their issues though. So I won't be taking the Build-A-Figure into consideration at all. This will just be of the figures, and I'm going to be ranking them from my least favorite up to my favorite. So let's get started. In last place, I have to put the Flash, Jay Garrick from the Flash television show. This figure just isn't great. I mean, it's completely like new sculpt for the most part, which is really cool, but the proportions are pretty off as far as the feet and the hands are extremely small, and then worst of all, the face sculpt is awful. Like, you can hardly tell what you're even looking at here. The face sculpt on the back of the packages actually looks decent, but the final product just doesn't look anything like that, and there was a time where I wasn't sure if this was the Zoom Flash or if this was the actual Flash, because the face sculpt was just so bad I couldn't tell between them. So overall, really not a fan of this figure. Fifth place has to go to Hawkman from Legend of Tomorrow. This figure is pretty decent as far as there's lots of good detail, especially in the suit and the wings. I really like the detail in the wings, it looks very nice. However, I'm not a big fan of how the wings are attached, the two parts are attached by a really flimsy little clip. If you put the wings up, like, they'll slowly come down, which is very annoying, as well as his articulation is hindered, especially in the elbow section. He doesn't have much of range in the elbow whatsoever, and it does kind of feel flimsy. So overall, deserving a fifth spot, although there's some nice detail on the figure. Fourth place goes to Zoom. Zoom is the figure that I wanted the most in this series, and it does look pretty neat. I do like the face sculpt. There's lots of good detail in the figure. He probably would have been pretty high on this list if it wasn't for the way that they've sculpted the torso. I don't know what they did, but he's just got such an elongated torso that it looks awful. I don't know what they were thinking, and that's something that's just such an easy fix. I mean, had they just looked and saw that the proportions were way off, could have fixed this easily. Like, I swear, the thigh should be like way up here instead of down here. So overall, just horrible proportions, and it's a shame because it could have been a really cool figure. At third place, we have the Batman Jim Gordon figure. This figure is very nice. The only thing is it's kind of plain. There's not a whole lot going on here. Lots of smooth surfaces. However, the figure itself is pretty neat. I do definitely like the head sculpt. I like the expression on the face, and it is nice that he does come with a secondary head sculpt. But overall, it's pretty plain, but there's nothing wrong with it, at least. Second place goes to Batgirl. This one is very similar to the Jim Gordon Batman as far as it's a pretty perfect figure. There's really nothing wrong with it. There is a lack of interesting stuff happening in some areas. However, overall it's quite nice, and you do have a nice mixture of colors, unlike the Jim Gordon Batman. So there's more to look at. The hair, I think, is painted quite nicely, and then the face sculpt is very nice. The face sculpt looks like it just kind of jumps right out of the comic. So really do like this figure. It certainly has its problems, and there's not a whole lot of depth as far as the paint's concerned, but I do like the mixture of the colors, and the proportions are all pretty perfect. And my favorite figure from the DC Comics Multiverse King Shark Build-A-Figure wave has to be the Joker. I think that the Joker is the best executed figure on this list. He really looks like he jumps right out of the comics the entire thing. There's lots of depth happening in the face sculpt, and the paint on the face looks wonderful. I do love the fact that he comes with two head sculpts and that one of them has the Batarang in his eye. I think that's very cool, and just his proportions are very unique and neat and cool. The only thing I don't like about it is it uses a rubber suit, similar to what the armored Batman uses, which is a shame. I don't really want rubber on my figures. However, it does still maintain a fantastic look, so I am very happy with it because of that. And his articulation is pretty good. It's not very hindered in any place. It's good for Mattel, at least. So yeah, definitely deserving my favorite spot on this list. So overall, this is an okay wave. I'm not a big fan of Mattel. I feel like they do some really cool Build-A-Figures, but their main figures in the lines are kind of iffy, to say the least. I don't think I would have bought a single one of these figures had King Shark not been the Build-A-Figure. This was certainly a wave where I bought it for the Build-A-Figure, and I was even willing just to buy the Build-A-Figure pieces. However, it turned out to just be a better deal to get the actual figures with their pieces anyway. So overall, really love the Build-A-Figure of this wave. The figures in this wave all have their issues. There's really not one that doesn't have an issue, but there are some that have less than others, and therefore there are certainly better ones than others. Joker, Batgirl are definitely the three comic Batman figures are definitely the best. It's very apparent that Mattel, isn't great with their figures, but they can do a better job with their comic figures rather than their live action figures, because this wave is split completely 50-50 between comic Batman figures and the CW TV show figures, and then of course the Build-A-Figure being from the CW TV series makes the entire wave a little bit more leaning towards that. But it's an interesting split of figures. They're so close to a theme here that it would have been cool if they just picked one theme and went with it. I would have really liked this wave had it been completely the CW TV show figures. Even though the three that I would consider the best in this wave are the comic figures, had the entire wave had the CW TV show theme, I think that would have been kind of fun, and obviously it would have gone better with the Build-A-Figure, so I would have probably preferred that. But overall, some nice figures in this wave. I think I'll probably sell a few of these. Zoom and Joker are the only ones that I have interest in keeping, although I really can't stand how they messed up the proportions on Zoom's torso. But really do love the Build-A-Figure of this wave, and there are some, solid figures in this wave. So let me know what you guys think of my ranking, and how would you guys rank them. Thanks so much for watching.